Stephanie keeps all the cool kids on her channel, like Titan Uranus. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
we got Titan to crawl out of his shell.
Actually, I was gonna wonder if you would let me mirror that on my channel because I was just like, Titan
Oh
was just
yeah,
a little
absolutely.
chatter. It's a fucking little chatterbox. I'm like, I've never heard him talk that much in my life. Apparently, just give him a mic and hook him up to Stephanie's chat, and he doesn't know how to shut the fuck up.
Hey, look, it is Titan Uranus. Uranus, how are you? And are you Titan?
Oh,
That's
How are
Sir
y'all?
Uranus.
that's
to all
that
of us.
actor guy.
Sir Uranus.
How is everyone?
Titan, what are
Just
you
The,
doing
fine.
here? You never come into streams.
Well, and I said you're going to be mad at me now because I didn't come in your stream, but I've actually eaten since, so now I can function a little bit.
Well, I mean,
All right.
I don't know. By rights, I'm always mad at you, so that's one more
That's
thing.
true. Maya's been mad at me for like 5 years, so
Okay, that's all.
Yeah,
Man.
you're all good.
Beck has a great voice. I don't know what he's talking about. I have an unusually deep voice, but I mean, little known thing, Nick Suter won't let his wife be in the room when I'm talking to him because if I know she's there, I'll talk like this. Hey, Nick, how are you doing?
then she's like,
well,
Who's talking like
behind
that?
the scenes, here we are.
Oh my god.
Titan was coerced. He was coerced. Yeah, Stephanie.
He was coerced. I
Twisted his
I
arm.
did coerce the great Titan Uranus, whose presence is known throughout the interwebs.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize how appreciated you were by modders. I just thought you were like strong arming them in the back. Like, look, bitch, I'm gonna be in your side chat. Just mod me. Don't ask questions.
Me? I've asked for like in the whole time I've been on YouTube. When
God damn it.
actually, Nick asked me to be a mod, and I said no. And then they did a show and got invaded by trolls. I mean, like a big group of trolls, and they only had one mod, and I said I'll help out, and I ended up not losing the wrench and staying. And the same thing happened with Derek on Myth Vision. He had no mods in his side chat.
Myth
And-
Vision? Holy shit. Yeah, that was
yeah, and one day he had on one of the ex-Muslims, one of the female ex-Muslim creators. The people were coming in, and I'm not going to repeat what some of their screen names even were. They were horrific. Let's say sexual assault that person, type of
Right.
stuff. He knew me from other places, and I said, Derek, you know who I am. Give me a rent. This will be gone. That's probably like the only 2 times, other than, hey, I'll put a link in if you give me a wrench for a minute or whatever, that I've ever asked for a wrench.
So let's talk about trolls. I've been meaning to ask because there have been situations where there are trolls and people are calling people trolls, but they're not really quite trolls, I don't know, but
No.
what?
Yes,
what do you
that's an
think?
insult to decent, hardworking trolls to call most people trolls. That is a fact.
That's what I'm getting at. Where do you come down on what makes for a troll?
Oh, I am one of the best known trolls. That's why I'm rich so many places. Years ago, and I'll say his name here because I doubt he'll ever see it, Steve McRae annoyed a lot of people. And if Spackle were still here, I'm sure she'd have something to say about that too. And I happen
He's
to
a
have just
troll.
been given a wrench.
Like an actual
I'm but I'm a white hat troll. And
No, but Steve McRae is himself like.
Yeah,
Well,
but
he's a toxic ass clown, is what he is.
Well, there
That's-
you go.
But
Steve considers Titan a troll.
I had coincidentally been given a wrench on the NSS show just before the major events, the breakup and all. And when all of the shit started, I had no context, no history, didn't know Steve, didn't know Kyle, had no idea. So I'm like, well, this is not what I signed up for. I'm just not going to hang around. But then they started with the homophobic shit. I was like, nah, we're not having that anywhere. So I hung around. And I started gathering information. And anyone can tell you the one thing I'm really good at is finding receipts and gathering information. Yeah, I ended up in some very weird spaces on YouTube and Discord to get everything I wanted. But basically, for a while there, every time I had spies in Steve's camp, every time he had a plan, I knew about it as soon as he told anyone outside of his inner circle. And 3 times I can name, I literally put a stop to something they were doing pretty much as I did it. I made sure they knew it was me because I'm untouchable. I'm not on Twitter. I was using a different name then, but that name is not my real name. You can't get through me through my ISP. You can't get at me any possible way. I'm very good at security. I knew that I was safe, so I said, fine, I'll be the lightning rod. Let them come after me. They literally can't get a grasp. Well, if you know about Steve, you may have heard the story about the time he ate the dollar store frozen lobster roll.
Wow. No, that was a running joke for a good 2 years plus.
And he ended up with a fecal impaction, and he talked about it on stream, which I don't understand why he talks about what he does. Yeah, which led to the Aussie troll. He's a real troll too. Who am I trying to say, Maya? What's his name?
An Aussie troll? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's
oh my God, tip of the tongue.
Agrippa.
Agrippa, thank you.
Yeah, Agrippa. I couldn't think of it for a moment. Agrippa talked about his bunged up clacka all the time. So I literally spent a solid year messing with Steve McRae. I just trolled him, and it was opportunistic. I had no plans. I didn't go looking for him, and he so doesn't understand how technology works that I backdoored my way onto the Great Debate Community Discord server. They didn't have their perm set right. I could get in without anyone realizing I was there, changed my nickname, and deleted everything that showed that I had entered. So I was just a name in a list that no one paid any attention to, and listened to all their plans for like the whole time. And by the way, that is how I did some of that, Maya. That is how I did some of that. After about a year of messing with them and the NSS lawsuit not going anywhere and all that, I was like, I'm with a lot of toxic people, not just Steve, but I ended up intersecting a lot of toxic people who didn't like Steve, but they themselves weren't that great. So I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm going to go back to what I was doing before, which is moderating a few channels and just supporting. Well, about that time, Steve said, and I still have the receipt on this, one of the things he said was, I will never go on a channel that has that guy as a mod. Every channel I went on after that made me a mod because it was a warning to Steve McRae to keep the hell away.
No, that is super. That is actually.
Now that you say
cool.
that, I do remember hearing about that.
Really
Yep.
awesome.
My headphones are dying, so I have to go. And I love you people, but thank you for having me, Maya. Thank you for having me, Stephanie, and to you. You know, it's always nice seeing and hearing from you. So.
No, I remember there was a couple of times when like Titan would hit me up on Discord and be like, come to the stream. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why is Steve why are you doing this to me? I don't feel safe. But he would just make any comment. And then you would see Steve like fucking shit his pants. I don't know what he did, but like Titan and Drag were the only people that got that kind of reaction out of Steve.
Well, the best part was I had created this name, an account using this name and a different avatar, and even had my Discord server named this. I always planned to change to this name because of the bunged up clacka. Steve will not say this name. So he would never say my name on a stream again. This name was my final troll on him, truly.
But Titan, I actually want to know on kind of more on topic about what's been going on. How do you feel about the South and LG?
I'm not immersed in it the way you are. If you get just a little, if you get north of I-10, you're in Christ country. So it's a little different where I am. So there are people from all over the world here. It's much more cultured, I guess. So, you know, even the people who are long-term residents who might kind of have opinions keep it to themselves more. So I'm not in the same boat as someone in a small town in the real Bible Belt. But that said, since the 1980s, you know, a little known fact, I mean, I've mentioned this before, I'm non-binary. My first lover was a trans man. We worked together on getting laws changed in Louisiana because probably two reasons. Number one, he couldn't get an ID with an M on it until he had finished all of his surgeries. They made you finish all the medical stuff, as they called it. But the medical stuff, they literally prescribed that every trans person had to have, if male or female, had certain things that had to be done. And he didn't want bottom surgery. I don't know what it's like now, but back then, bottom surgery for trans men was really hit and miss and kind of not a good thing. He was very happy with being socially male and being on HRT, and it turned out, rather surprisingly to both of us, that when he went on T, and because I had grown up with him, I should point out, by the way, we knew each other since we were 11. We didn't become lovers until we were late teens, early 20s, but he had grown boobs. But when he got on T and lost some weight, which he had been a little overweight, not much, he really looked like a slightly chubby guy who had been heavier and lost some weight. He really didn't need top surgery even. We definitely wanted to change the rules around how you could change your paperwork. And there were also aspects to it, like having to go to court and have a district attorney literally preach the Bible at you before a judge would legally give you a name and gender change to your paperwork. A court you had to take notice in Louisiana. You couldn't just change your name. We managed to get both of those laws changed to make it easier for people. Now, I never really did much after that, to be honest. I mean, we didn't stay together. That was one of those just youthful fling kind of. We stayed good friends. I introduced him to one of his 2 wives he's had since then, and all that. I mean, we don't talk anymore, but that's a separate issue. We were friends for a very long time, but he got ill. He had some severe medical problems, utterly unrelated to being trans or anything else, and he couldn't do the activism anymore. And really, I had always just been kind of his voice. He had a learning disability that made it difficult to write, so he would say what he wanted to, what he felt needed to be expressed, and I would write it up and read it back to him, and he would edit verbally. That's how we did the stuff we did. So. Back then it wasn't about being on the street and marching and whatever. It was about going through the courts and, getting the laws, and through Congress for that matter. For one of them, we had to actually get a law literally changed. So I've been in this a long time, on and off. I can't say that I've always been an activist for 40 years, but through the years, I've joined in on a particular cause for a while. And then when that cause was won, and it usually was, because we know what happened the last 40 years, things got better. Until recently, I would move on.
No, that's insane. Like, you're actually a trans trailblazer.
No, yeah. I would say I don't want to say their name, even their first name, because they're a little bit well known even now. But they were the trailblazer. I was literally the person behind the power, so to speak. I mean, I helped, I supported, I did whatever, but I've been in it nonetheless.
Could get off the ground without supporters, though.
Well, true, I guess, but
Well, on a lighter note, YouTube Punk says Titan nearly has all the infinity wrenches.
Yeah, so I'm making an infinity cod piece.
Oh, awesome!
You don't want to.
That's really good.
Half of you are going to go out of existence when I do it. That's
Well, being a Titan, I imagine the cod piece is similarly equipped.
And then there was another comment here. Oh, there's Clara. I once suggested that Titan do a stream show with Dick Dawson. It could be called Dick and Uranus.